Good morning, and thank you for tuning into the Andrew Tate Show, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We've got a great show for you guys today. We're going to be covering LeBron James delivers a serious challenge to the Lakers after the Nuggets thrashing. We'll also be talking about why the Knicks versus the 76ers rolls around Joel Embiid. We'll also be talking about the Spurs could sign Chris Paul this summer, and make sure that you guys stick around for later in the show when we'll be diving into our dating horror story for the week. Before we start, though, I wanted to ask that you guys like and follow the show. Also, we get a number of questions from the viewers that come in during the show, so to ensure that your question gets read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. That link is gsmcpodcast.net. This just puts your question at the top of the list so I can see it, and it also really helps the show. I just want to say my notes. I guess when I was typing them out this morning, I didn't notice that I had spelled Spurs wrong on here on the first part of it, and it said Sours. And I was like, that doesn't look right.
First off, good morning, Faith.
Good morning.
Okay. I was waiting on you to introduce me, and you just went right in. I was like,
I'm sorry.
like this part of the intro.
Good morning,
what's
Tate.
going on? Okay.
Yeah, I had Spurs spelled wrong on my notes, and I almost said Sours instead of Spurs.
The Spurs, okay.
Sours.
Well, their season was kind of sour as far as in the win category, but it was.
There you go.
It was sweet getting Victor Wembanyama, so it's one of those things.
Yeah.
So, all right. I was talking to Faith in the production meeting, but I'm going to say it here. Faith is bringing her A game today. She looks amazing. I like the shirt. The shirt is styling. The hair is on point. And then I'm looking scruffy. So you're making me look really bad today.
You look nice. You always look nice. I actually got a decent amount of sleep last night. So when I woke up this morning, I was like, I guess I'll, try add a little extra sprinkle than I normally do today.
Okay. Also, Faith went on a little road trip this weekend.
I did.
So fill us in.
Yeah.
You drove 4 hours to where?
Valdosta, Georgia.
Where?
Valdosta is about 20 to 30 minutes away from Florida, so it's on the Florida-Georgia line. It's very, very South Georgia, but that is where I grew up.
Okay, that's right. You're at the street. You're at the far north, and your family's from the far south. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's what you're gonna say?
Yes. Yeah. I was born and raised there, and I moved to Athens two years ago when I transferred to the University of Georgia. But yeah, I went to go visit my family this weekend. It was nice. I had a lot of fun with them. The 4-hour drive is not fun, but they make it all worth it. Saturday, I had my brother and my sister came to my parents' house, and so I got to see all of them and visit with them. So it was nice.
Now, you said the 4-hour drive that's rough for you?
Mm-hmm. It's long and boring. It's just trees, and then it's trees for 2 hours, and then it's I-75 for 2 hours. So
see, I like driving. That's the one thing. I don't like driving so much here in Europe, but in the U.S., where the roads are just laid out so nice, it's like I don't mind driving. I've driven.
I like driving, but after the 2-hour point, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to be done.
I'm the guy who has driven across country multiple times, from Cleveland to California, from DC to California. So I've done that whole multiple times, and that's a drive. Or also from California to Montana, I've done that. My whole thing is, as long as I can get up early in the morning and leave and drive then. This whole, hey, let's leave at 6:00 that night. I can't do that.
I don't drive that late. No. I left the goal was I was going to leave at noon, and then I didn't leave until 1. because I was. Well, I went to
You
the
were
gym.
slacking?
We went to the gym later than we were supposed to on Fridays, so I was slacking a little bit, and I still hadn't packed, so I had to pack too.
Yeah, people don't like me on road trips because I'm the guy that's like, I want to meet up at 3 a.m. and be on the road by 4
No, I won't do that.
a.m. See,
I
here's
will
the
not
reason
do
why.
that.
Because you're maximizing your daylight. Once it starts getting dark, that's when it's hard for me.
But if you
Because
leave at 4,
everything,
it's still dark.
nah, yeah, that's you're driving your
That's
own.
different.
You're driving through your own neighborhood. The sun is coming up. You start getting that energy boost, and then I'm ready to go.
Mm.
I can drive. I can knock out if I can leave early,
Mm-hmm.
and I can drive 12 to 14 hours, no problem, as long as it's in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
If you start at like what time you did, like later in the afternoon, I'm worthless.
Well, I got there
It's
at like 5. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah. So okay. So you got there with the family. Fill me in. What else? What did you guys do?
So when I got there on Friday, we went out to the only brewing company in Valdosta. We went there and hung out for a little bit, went home, and then I went and spent some time with some of my friends who still live back home, and then Saturday. Got my car serviced. Shout out to my mom and dad for getting my car serviced. um,
Oh.
and then my brother and sister came, and we just hung out, chat. We played some card games, and then yesterday I left around 2:30 and got back home around 6:30. And just kind of lazed about before it was time for bed because driving for a really long time just takes it out of you. So
Then you're just beat.
yeah.
It's kind of funny. I always talk about my friends that come in to visit.
Hmm.
And today I have my friends that are coming in from London.
Mm.
And so my buddy Errol, his birthday is tomorrow.
Hmm.
So we're gonna be hanging out with them. But it's card game. They're a little older.
Hmm.
So they love the game Phase 10. So at some point they
I
uh-oh.
phase 10, my mom is always wins at phase 10. So I hate playing phase 10. Hate it, hate it, hate it.
Why? How do
Cuz
you
my mom always wins no matter what. My mom always wins at phase 10. So and we're a
Oh,
very competitive family.
no. I'm that way. I'm that way too. So uh Phase 10 is definitely a card game that I'll play. I doubt if your family's playing Cards Against Humanities as
We
well.
play that and apples to
Oh,
apples.
really?
Yeah, we play both of those.
See, I have the extended pack.
Mm.
And so that game is awesome
Yeah.
because it's crazy. We have the extended version which has pictures and everything, but
Hmm.
it's a little bit more adult content as
Hmm.
well.
Yeah.
The British version.
Mm.
So there's an American version, there's a Brit version.
I didn't know that.
And so yeah, it's kind of different. Anyway, I know we have to dive in because the NBA
Yeah.
finals are officially arrived.
Yep. So today is just gonna be all basketball today. We have a full basketball episode. So LeBron James delivers a serious challenge to Los Angeles Lakers after the Denver Nuggets thrashing. Having won 4 rings in his legendary career, All-Star forward LeBron James knows a thing or two about becoming a champion in the NBA. And after losing Game 1 to Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets, the league's all-time leading scorer issued a serious challenge to the Los Angeles Lakers for them to bounce back. The two teams met recently for the first match of their series, with Denver getting 114-103 win over Los Angeles. Jokic showed everyone why he's the MVP in the MVP conversation by making 32 points on 65% shooting from the field, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists. Jamal Murray dropped 22 points and 10 assists, while Aaron Gordon contributed 12 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists. The The Lakers had Anthony Davis lead the way with his 32 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 assists. James tallied 27 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists. Meanwhile, both D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves had 13 points each in Los Angeles' first loss in the series. After going through the regular season to gain a spot in the playoffs via the play-in tournament, the Lakers are one game closer to elimination. The Nuggets, on the other hand, are showing how effective they are on both ends of the court to defend their championship. And then LeBron James challenges Los Angeles Lakers after Game 1 loss to the Denver Nuggets. After the game, James spoke to the media and pointed out why his team have won championships in the past. In a video shared by Oh No He Didn't on X, the four-time NBA champion dropped a serious challenge to the Lakers. As pointed out by Lakers legend Magic Johnson, there was nothing wrong with how James and Davis played in Game 1. The problem lied in the team's guard, Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell, and how they contributed a combined total of 26 points to their team. If the Lakers want to win, the entire lineup will have to pay more attention to detail. Otherwise, Los Angeles will find themselves exiting the playoffs earlier than they wanted.
Okay, Miss Faith.
Yes.
Is there a movie that your family likes to watch that you hate? And every year, it's like The Grinch for me.
You don't
I'm
like
not
the
a bit.
Grinch?
No, I don't really like The Grinch. It's not Toy Story, but Christmas Story, the one with the kid with the glasses.
Not movies, but like games. Like my brother always wants to play Monopoly, and I hate playing Monopoly.
See, I love Monopoly. That's my game. But I'm more talking about the movies.
I don't think so. No.
It's like watching this game is like watching those Christmas programs, certain Christmas programs that you don't like, but every year someone forces you to watch that game or watch that movie. Well, this was that game. This was the movie. Lakers versus the Nuggets. Every time they play, it is the exact same thing. The Lakers are like, we're going to take them serious this time. We're going to put everything into this game, and we're going to come out strong. And that's exactly what they did. In the first half, LeBron and James and Anthony Davis are firing. They're up by a big lead. LeBron James and Anthony Davis, they had 37 points between the two of them. They're looking good. They're moving. And I'm just sitting there with my arms crossed, like, I've seen this already. Freddy Krueger rises from the dead. He comes back and he kills everybody. In this case, Nikola Jokic rises from the dead. Same thing. Halftime happens. The Lakers are up. They come back in. It's the third quarter. And what happens? Denver goes on a 13-0 run. Their lead is gone. The Lakers are behind. They have no answer. There is no answer for Murray and Nikola Jokic. They don't have an answer. Every game, when they were in the playoffs last time, same kind of thing happened, and then they got swept. Well, nothing has changed. When I watch this series, I'm like, they have no answer on how to stop Jokic. They have no answer on how to stop Murray. Jokic, 32 points. Murray, 22 points. But these were real points. And then Michael Porter Jr., 19 points. That was, and it's over. The Lakers, something has to be done differently. When you look at Jokic, 19 of the 32 points in the third quarter all went through Nikola Jokic. Either it was an assist or he scored it. And there's no answer. They started putting LeBron down on him a couple of times. Anthony Davis, they don't have an answer on how to stop him. And it's hard when you watch him as a Laker fan or any fan, non-Denver. Jokic does not look athletic at all. He don't look like he can hop. He got any hops. He looks slow. He looks clumsy. And you look around, and he has killed you. I mean, he has literally killed you. For the Lakers, LeBron James and Anthony Davis came to play. Uh, Anthony Davis, 32 points. LeBron James, 27 points. They did what they're supposed to do. That's what is expected. The problem is like what you were talking about in the article. Rui Hachimura, D'Angelo Russell, and Austin Reed. They got between the two guards, D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reed, 26 points. That should have been one of those two guys should have got 26 points on their own. In order for them to win, you need a third guy that's going to get you 20, 25 points a game. That's normally D'Angelo Russell. You're going to need Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves to step up. When the best lineup they have is Davis, LeBron, Hachimura, Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, but their defense, that lineup is their best offensive lineup, but defensively, they're at a liability and they cannot slow down Murray or Porter or, or Jokic at all. But if you go in with a different lineup, then the Lakers aren't going to score as much. They're not going to shoot as many threes. So it was not a good matchup here. And I actually thought this would be the game. This was the game to get to, that the Lakers needed. Denver's been resting. The Lakers are coming off of play-in tournament win, so they got a big win. They're coming in healthy. They're fresh. They're on a roll. And it was same bad channel, same bad time. It was like club you over the head in the third quarter, dominate you in the fourth, and cancel Christmas the rest of the game. And I look at this and I'm like,
it's unfortunate.
I watch this. Yes, go ahead. What are you gonna say?
It's unfortunate because the score it's very close, very close score. It's quite unfortunate.
Well, it was a 11-point win, but I look at this and I say, I felt like the Lakers really needed this game. I feel like there's a confidence issue with the Lakers. The Lakers haven't been able to beat the Nuggets for the last 2 years. And until they break that seal, I feel like they're in trouble. So you look around, game 2 is the game that I feel like they have to get. They have to get one of these 2 games. If they go down 2-0 or 3-0, I feel like it's just going to be a repeat where they're going to get swept. LeBron is playing amazing. He had 7 turnovers. I believe it was 7. Yeah, he had 7 turnovers. Anthony Davis was a beast. Anthony Davis did his job. You can't blame Anthony Davis. You can't blame LeBron even with the turnovers. But again, this is what happened last year in the Western Conference Finals. D'Angelo Russell kind of disappeared. Their bench disappeared. Prince came off the bench, got 11. He was the only other person off the bench that contributed anything. So it was kind of a disappointing game for the Lakers. Hopefully they can take one of these first 2. If they can walk out of this 1-1, then you have a series. But if they go down 2-0, 3-0, I don't think they could come back from it. So that was kind of my overall take on that one.
Well, let's hope that they can pick themselves up after this game.
Dust yourself off there.
Yeah.
And LeBron is right. He's trying to, he's saying all the right things.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to motivate the players,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't. Austin Reed, Hashimura, you gotta get more than what, 31. Let's see, what was that? 26, 33 points from the three of them. You have to get more than that.
Yeah.
You need someone else. If you turn around and you just keep these same numbers the same, but instead of it being 13 for D'Angelo Russell, let's say he throws in, let's say 22, 23 points.
Mm-hmm.
That's a win for the Lakers. Who's going to step up to be that third star for the Lakers? That's what they have to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Alrighty. Well, with that, guys, we are going to take our first break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about why the Knicks versus the 76ers revolves around Joel Embiid, whose injury scare and time on the bench helped define Game 1. So make sure you guys stick around, and we will be back in a minute.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were covering LeBron James delivers a serious challenge to the Lakers after the Nuggets thrashing, and now we're going to be talking about why the Knicks versus the 76ers rolls around Joel Embiid. But before we do that, I just wanted to remind you guys to like and follow the show. Also, we get a number of questions from viewers that come in during the show, so to ensure that your question gets right on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. The tips and donation link is gsmcpodcast.net. This just puts your question at the top of the list so I can see it, and it also really helps the show.
Excellent. Okay, before we start the next topic,
Yes.
talking more about the playoffs and looking at the playoffs, there's a saying that goes around in basketball that a series really doesn't start until the home team loses a game. Really, that's when, or the team that's at home loses a game. Once that happens, then that kind of shapes the NBA playoffs or a series. And when you look at this playoff series so far, everyone held serve. The Cavaliers beat the Magic. The Timberwolves beat the Suns. That was a game I was surprised on. I was expecting the Suns' big three to really step it up, and they just got beat down. As we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about that Knicks 76ers game. We just talked about the Lakers getting beat down by the Nuggets. The Celtics are just doing what the Celtics does. I mean, the Celtics, that was no surprise to me. The Clipper game, Clippers beating the Mavericks. A lot of people were taking the Mavericks to win game 1. And the Clippers won 109-97. That's a series to keep an eye on. I like that series a lot. Bucks Pacers. I've picked the Bucks Pacers
Mm-hmm.
as the game where I think there's going to be an upset. I'm taking the Pacers in the first game. I mean, in this series, but
Mm-hmm.
the Bucks came out won 109-94. They look good. The Bucks looked incredibly good, like strong. And then OKC came out in a very competitive game, won 94-92 over the Pelicans. But my whole point is all the home teams won.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is too early to tell on a
Mm-hmm.
lot of these series until a team drops their first game at home. That's kind of when it really does tell you, okay, where this series is going.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, though, I have seen the movie The Lakers and the Nuggets, and I'm also a Laker fan, but that doesn't seem like it's going to be a great series right now. So that concerns me. So, all right, I'll let you go into it, but I wanted to touch on that because, nothing's really been settled as of yet.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, got another basketball story. So why the Knicks versus the 76ers revolves around Joel Embiid, whose injury scare and time on the bench helped define Game 1. Joel Embiid made one of the most electrifying plays of his career on Saturday, but it went from sensational to scary as soon as his feet hit the ground. With less than 3 minutes remaining in the second quarter of the Philadelphia 76ers playoff opener against the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden, the NBA's reigning MVP threw the ball off the glass to himself and dunked on Knicks forward OG Anunoby. Okay.
Yes.
As his teams started to celebrate, Embiid landed, grabbed on his left knee, and fell to the floor. It's the same knee that Embiid had a surgical procedure on the meniscus in February. Forward Kelly Oubre Jr., the closest Sixer to Embiid on the court, quickly went from A, flexing at Embiid, to B, trying to catch him as he fell, to C, running back on defense. Oubre's first thought was, heck of a play, he said, and then, oh, sugar honey iced tea. When Embiid eventually got up, he walked to the locker room, and he didn't reemerge until moments before the third quarter was underway, after the rest of the team had done their usual halftime warm-ups. We were in a huddle, and then I get on the court, and number 21 is there, Oubre said. But that just goes to say he's resilient, he wants to win, he's going to do every single thing, he's going to put his body on the line. Embiid wound up playing 20 minutes in the second half with 37 total. He finished with 29 points and 8 for 22 shooting and 11 for 12 from the free throw line, 8 rebounds and 6 assists. He was plus 14 in the 111-104 loss. In the 11 minutes that he set, Philadelphia was outscored by 21 points.
Okay. The first thing, that injury, it's one of those things. The first thing made me think about this is we were talking about this earlier.
Yes.
A few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Joel Embiid is not healthy. He is not close to healthy.
Mm-mm.
And I feel like the 76ers are taking a very big risk at having them out there.
Pushing him way hard right now, and I think they need to take a chill.
But see, the thing is, the 76ers have no shot at all without Joel Embiid, so they have to have him.
But they're not going to have a shot, period, if he's gone.
Oh,
forever,
if he goes down, oh my God, it is over.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And when I was watching this game,
mm-hmm.
it was obvious to me that Joel Embiid was not Joel Embiid. He didn't have the lift. He didn't have the speed, power that he normally has. It's just clear he wasn't at 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, the Knicks dominated this game. I'm not going to say, it was a closer game. It was a very competitive game, but the Knicks led wire to wire. and they were just the better overall team. Even with Julius Randle being out, watching this, when the series started, I'm like, wow, Julius Randle's not going to be playing for the Knicks. I feel like they have Joel Embiid. I guess Joel Embiid's playing well. But a hobbled Joel Embiid makes them, definitely weakens them. And so when I looked at the 76ers, I mean, their defensively, it was pathetic. I thought defensively the 76ers were just pathetic. Joel Embiid is kind of like the heart and soul of that team. He wasn't, with him not being 100%, it changed everything. And Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart just absolutely destroyed them. I mean, destroyed them. There was no answer for those two. When you look at what was going on, I think Brunson, how many points did Brunson have here? I would go back to look at that. Because Brunson ended up with 22, I believe, and Josh Hart ended up with 22. No one, and then McBride ended up with 21. No one, I was not expecting Josh Hart to go off like he did either. But the Knicks were just a better overall team. Like we're saying, rebounding. That's where Joel Embiid's, his not being healthy, the rebounding became a factor. So many times the Knicks got a really big rebound when the Knicks needed it. The Knicks were able to pull down that rebound, get a second chance point, which never gave the 76ers a chance to really take the lead. Their bench, coming off the bench, I mean, it was, McBride, Grimes, Hart, they were just coming through with critical points, which then allowed them to rest. It was one of those games that I felt like you could tell the best player that Joel Embiid wasn't strong. He was hobbled, and the Knicks just took advantage of them. And I don't see it getting better for them. I don't see like the dunk where he kind of re-injured or aggravated the quad. There's only a couple days rest.
Right.
It's not gonna get better.
No, they have a game today, I believe.
Right. So there isn't enough time. So Joel Embiid's gonna be hobbled this whole series.
Yeah.
And if he's gonna play like that and the rest of the team is not gonna step up, the Knicks are gonna win this series.
Yeah.
I thought I was originally looking at the opposite direction, where they have Joel and Embiid back. The Knicks do not have Randall. But now, looking at a hobbled Joel and Embiid, the 76ers just don't have enough weapons to handle the Knicks. Also, this is actually showing the Knicks really stepped up. And so all of a sudden, it's not hype anymore. The Knicks are going to contend. I got the Celtics winning the East. But I'm very curious to see how strong and the way the playoffs lined up. I feel like the Knicks are the one that has they get past the 76ers. I like their chances to make it into the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't like anyone's chance against the Celtics this year, right now. But it's interesting. That's kind of where I saw it. Josh Hart was on fire. Brunson was unstoppable. So let's see. And also, got to wait. I'm gonna have to give her Tyrese Maxey played hard as well.
Hmm.
So that's
Yeah,
kind of where I have things at right
it's
now.
funny how like you and I have been kind of like flip flopping this entire time about Joel Embiid because when he first got hurt, you and I were both like, no. Don't put him on the court this year. Don't do it. And then they put him on the court, and then he did really well. And then we were like, well, maybe he's okay. Maybe he's fine. And now, this happened on Saturday, and now we're like just completely leave
Yeah,
him alone
because
for the rest of the year.
because the risk, when you look at this game,
Hmm.
I don't see the 76ers as a real championship contending team
Hmm.
this year. They're missing pieces. Joel Embiid needs to be MVP Joel
Hmm.
Embiid in order for them to make a run in this playoff.
Right.
That quad is not going to get better. It's only as you don't give them less and less rest, it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
I just think they're pushing it,
Hmm.
and I hope that nothing bad happens out of this. But it worries me that I know you're going all out, you're doing everything you can, but a hobbled Joel Embiid right now, that's not a championship team in my
Hmm.
eyes.
Yeah. I agree.
So
I agree. Alrighty, guys. Well, with that, we are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about the Spurs could sign Chris Paul this summer. So make sure you guys stick around, and we will be back in a minute.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were talking about why the Knicks versus the 76ers revolves around Joel Embiid, and now we're going to be talking about the Spurs could sign Chris Paul this summer. Or the Sours, apparently, to my notes.
the Sours.
The Sours. Alrighty, so the Spurs could sign Chris Paul this summer. According to the NBA insider Mark Stein, the San Antonio Spurs could sign Chris Paul this summer. Paul has a non-guaranteed contract with the Golden State Warriors for the next season. A potential team to watch should Chris Paul and the Warriors part ways is San Antonio, Stein wrote. Among the early personnel rumbles in circulation, the Spurs could emerge as a Paul suitor if they decide to pursue some veteran know-how on a short-term contract basis to furnish presumptive Rookie of the Year winner Victor Wembanyama with a more seasoned help in year 2. Paul appeared in 58 games for the Warriors this season. The NBA legend averaged 9.2 points, 3.9 rebounds, and 6.8 assists while shooting 44.1% from the field, 37.1% from beyond the arc, and 82.7% from the free throw line. Paul turns 39 in May. However, he told NBA reporters after the Warriors season ended that he doesn't plan to retire. He said, "I'll talk to my wife and kids, my family, and my support system, see see what it looks like. But this isn't the end of my career. I know it for sure. All $30 million of Paul's contract for next season is non-guaranteed. Part of the Warriors' reasoning behind the Jordan Poole for Paul trade last offseason was the financial flexibility it would provide this summer. The Warriors could use it as a trade vehicle or wipe all $30 million off the books before it guarantees on June 28th. I haven't thought about it, Paul said. I'm too into it. I was in the gym at 8 a.m. this morning lifting and getting ready for this game. When it's time for that, Mike and Steve, we will have a conversation and see what it looks like. But I've loved it. It's honestly, this is my 5th year living without my family. I probably saw them more than any other year. Paul has a career average of 7.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 9.4 assists. He has close relationships with Spurs head coach Greg Popovich.
Okay. Now, at first glance, when I think about Chris Paul with Golden State, it is absolutely forgettable. It's an experiment that never worked. If they brought him in as a piece to trying to contend for a championship, it did not work at all. I think he's the second or third highest paid player on the team and barely contributed. Man, Chris Paul's a legend, and I look around and I'm saying, okay, it does give the Warriors an opportunity. I think that contract is valuable. And so do I think that San Antonio will get him? I don't know if they will, because you're going to have to give something up, because there's going to be a lot of teams that want that contract. That's an expiring contract, $30 million. You may be able to a great trade piece where people are trying to get under the salary cap. So that contract is going to be harder. I don't see them just saying we're gonna let you go, and we're gonna opt out of this contract because of what you can trade for to get back. But if they do, when I hear the fact that Chris Paul, even at 39, is going to be a free agent, I could see him fitting on a lot of teams. The Lakers are one of them, where they're still trying to make a run with LeBron. They need another superstar that can kind of step up, and Chris Paul has showed that he can be one of those guys. But I absolutely love putting him with Victor Wembanyama. I have been saying this most of the year, that they should trade for Chris Paul. The one thing, Victor Wembanyama, in my opinion, he's Rookie of the Year, he's Defensive Player of the Year. The one thing that he was missing this year that I thought the Spurs were missing was that true point guard. Well, is there a point guard in the NBA is there a point guard that knows the game or knows the position better than Chris Paul? No, there's no one. Putting Wembanyama with Chris Paul allows Wembanyama to advance his game even more, where Chris Paul would be able to get Wembanyama get him the shots that he needs, where in the right places, right locations. That's what a great point guard does. And Chris Paul arguably could be the greatest, or one of the greatest point guards. Magic is the greatest, but one of the greats of all time. And so having a guy that can come in with a younger team, especially the Spurs are going to be a young team. Maybe they draft a point guard. Maybe they bring whoever they're going to bring in and work with. But having a young point guard to learn from a Hall of Famer like Chris Paul would be amazing. Chris Paul showing the point guard, showing their whomever they're going to draft or whoever they decide to go with, how to play the game, how to get the ball to Wembanyama in the right spots. It's a lot of times Wembanyama's getting the ball and then he has to create separation, get the ball in the right spot. He's having to play. He's a 7'3" guy putting on the ground, dribbling, driving to the hole, which makes him amazing. But think about how great Wembanyama would be if he had a point guard that could get Wembanyama a lot of easy points, where he doesn't have to work and to get open. So now those points come into play. I think it definitely increases his offensive performance. Defensively, Wembanyama's already set. My opinion, he's the best defensive player in the game right now. If I had a vote, he's getting my defensive rookie of the year. But the offensive game is what comes on later and adjusting to that NBA style of play. Well, nothing advances a big man's numbers than having a quality point guard that's really going to help him advance his game. Someone that can kind of work with him during off season. Practice on where do you like the ball? Okay, I can get you there. Know how to get it to him up top. Wembanyama is the largest, tallest player in the NBA. He has room. I mean, Chris Paul will take advantage of that. So I do like this, but when I think about Chris Paul, even though this year was a failure, the whole thing with him going to Golden State was not. I don't feel like it was a great move for Chris Paul. And that's one of the reasons why so many people are asking, hey, are you retiring after this? Because this was his worst year of his career.
Right.
But if you're Golden State, you're not benching Steph Curry for Chris Paul. You know what I mean? So he didn't get the minutes. I think there are some contenders out there that would love his shooting, being able to run the point. I think he fits in incredibly well with the Lakers. The Lakers, it would make them a little older. And I know the Lakers do not want to get any older. You don't want
I was going to ask that.
Do you really want two 40-year-old men
right
as your focal point of your offense? That's the question, because I think he fits in. I think he fits in incredibly well with LeBron. LeBron has always said before he retires, he wants to play with Chris Paul and Carmelo Anthony. Well, he's gotten a chance to play with Carmelo. Now, does he get a chance to play with Chris Paul? I think it does. I think he does fit. He would fit defensively. He's older, but and could be because of the fact that he's getting older, could be a liability. But what he brings to the game for a team, putting Anthony Davis in the right spot, making sure LeBron gets the ball properly. I like him going to the Lakers more than anywhere else, provided he's willing to. If he gets released by Golden State,
I was about to ask, do you see Golden State releasing him?
No, I don't. It's an easy exit route for them. They could just release him. It's not guaranteed. I think he has like $30 million or so.
Yes.
I think it said, okay, so he has $30 million that's not guaranteed. So the Warriors could walk away and take $30 million off the cap. They paid $177 million in taxes last year, which is more than any team has ever paid in luxury tax in the history of the NBA. They had the highest payroll in the NBA. But that expiring contract can open up there's a lot of teams that want expiring contracts where that they can bring in maybe maybe the Warriors can kind of retool and get a few pieces that they need by trading that Chris Paul contract.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's not a lot of people out there that may trade for Chris Paul, but they will trade for that contract. That's kind of the way I see it. You're only allowed so much money. When you're doing a trade, it has to be a like for like contract.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a nice contract to have that you can maybe get a piece. And for a team that's looking to rebuild, getting rid of an expensive player that has more years on his contract for Chris Paul, let's say, I'm not going to name any players right now off the top of my head, but let's say you have a player that you got 3 or 4 more years on the contract, but you want to rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can take that contract, package it up, trade him to the Warriors, pick up his contract, and you've lost, instead of being $30 million a year for the next 3 years or 4 years, which is $120 million, you can trade them for like, and you lose $120 million off your cap for the next 3 or 4 years, and opens up for a nice rebuild. Kind of, if you look at Oklahoma City Thunder, New Orleans, Minnesota, that's how they were able to make some trades, get some younger players, and rebuild. There's other teams out there that are still looking to rebuild, that are looking to dump some salary. And so going after that contract, I think, is what is so valuable, and why I don't see the Golden State Warriors just releasing him. But if they release him outright, I could see the Spurs or the Lakers being the top 2 suitors. Mm-hmm. And I think if you're Chris Paul at 39, I don't think the San Antonio Spurs are going to be a place that he wants to go, because at 39, he has 1 or 2 more bites at the apple max. Mm-hmm. He's going to want to go to a contender. He's going to want to go somewhere where he has a shot at winning a championship, not rebuilding and on a project like San Antonio. So I don't see this truly as a real scenario, mm-hmm. unless he gets released and the market completely dries up. He's going to be wanting to go for a contender. So that's kind of where I see it at.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I guess we'll have to see what happens this summer then.
You know what this is?
Tate's excited for the next segment. Alrighty, guys. Well, with that, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into our dating horror story of the week. So make sure you guys stick around, and we will be back in a minute.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were talking about how the Spurs could sign Chris Paul this summer, and now we're going to dive into our dating horror story of the week. This one's a little long, so just bear with me.
I got no problem with as long as it's good.
Alrighty. So I met this guy on Tinder and we started talking. He happened to have a brother in my hometown and said he was staying with him that weekend. So I agreed to meet with him while I was in town after class. He was an hour later than he said he would be, so I waited in my car until he got there. I lived an hour outside of town, so I couldn't go home while I waited. I knew he had driven around an hour and hour and a half to come see me that night, so I gave him a second chance. The next morning we went to breakfast. When we were agreeing on a time, I asked if it could be a little later since I live so far side of out of town, and he responded, "Of course, I noticed you live super far out when I was looking at your Snap Map," which, if you don't know what Snap Map is, on Snapchat you can set your location public, private, and I guess she had it set to public and he was checking that. She said, which kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but I let it go. I only had mine on so my roommate could make sure I was okay. He started to get overly affectionate as soon as he got to the restaurant. I'm not a fan of PDA, so I asked him to stop, and was talking about engagement rings and spending his life with me. I asked him to slow down because I wasn't okay with how fast he was moving. He agreed, and we continued to talk and eat breakfast. After breakfast, I decided I'd go to a local coffee shop and do some Calc 2 homework, so I thanked him for breakfast and told him I was going to go study. He followed me to the coffee shop. I had gotten out my laptop notes in my TI-84 plus CE graphing calculator. When he saw it, his next words were him saying that he would be borrowing my calculator for an exam he needed to take for his job. I brushed it off with, I use it literally every day for Calc 2 and physics, and I don't think I can be without it, and tried to start working. But I got nothing done because he started FaceTiming his family so he could introduce me. Then he began talking about how he wanted to see my house and meet my family that day. Again, I asked him to slow down because I wasn't comfortable with introducing them to someone I barely knew. He continued to talk about how he wanted to meet my family, and every time he mentioned it, I expressed my discomfort at the idea of my family meeting someone I had only met in person twice. A few days later, I told him I couldn't continue to pursue a relationship with him because I didn't feel like he was taking my request to slow down seriously, but he brushed it off and continued to message me. If I didn't respond quick enough, he would blow my phone up until I responded. My breaking point was when he texted me, "Tell your family I'm taking them to dinner tonight." The next message was, "Also, I need you to bring your calculator so I can use it for my test." I felt like he was being too pushy with how fast he wanted to move and wanted me to let him use my stuff without actually asking me. And yes, I know it's just a calculator, but what else would he have tried to take without asking? At that point, I was done and just blocked him. Moral of the story, everyone either wants to hook up or has no boundaries and wants to get married immediately.
Okay. Woo. Okay.
I would run
Woosah.
so fast
Woosah.
that
My blood pressure went up.
I would run away so fast at the sound effects from like the cartoons, you know, when they're like
Yes.
that
Faith,
would happen.
are you noticing that these are all coming from Tinder? Are you
Yes.
noticing this?
I was on
Listen.
Tinder. Listen, nothing good comes from Tinder. I had terrible experiences on Tinder as well. So
And I told you my Tinder experience, didn't I?
I think so.
Yes. So, but I'm just telling you.
Stay off that.
First off, it's Tinder. Second of all, why are these guys so thirsty? This is a thirsty Thursday topic right here. This is my
don't
definition.
know.
Oh no, this is definition. This is textbook thirsty.
No, I know. What's funny though is like I have never run into this problem. No, okay. I ran into it once. Ran into this problem once when a guy was trying to get really seriously really quickly. But this is not a reoccurring issue that I had when I was single and I was dating. So, I guess
Listen,
lesser of two evils, I guess.
when in
I don't
doubt,
know.
throw
him
his
out.
butt out. Okay? She broke all kind of rules here. All kind of rules. First off, they did the date, and right out the gate, he wants to get all touchy-feely. Okay. Well, he got the full court press on. I understand what he's trying to do. But once you get that Heisman, you gotta drop it in second gear and slow down. The fact is that he kept on going.
Yeah.
That was the first one to say, listen, if you don't slow down, this date's over. That'd been the first thing you'd have done.
I gotta
But
get a
the fact,
flag.
right? That's a 15-yard penalty. Just throw the flag up in the air. A yellow flag, 15-yard penalty. Being touchy-feely on the first date. Okay. Then the fact is, he starts talking about marriage or getting serious. Ladies and gentlemen, any fool that comes to you on a first Tinder date and says anything about marriage or getting serious,
block them.
all you gotta do
go on another date with them after that.
It's just no. See, I'm even disagreeing with you on that one.
I don't.
You end that date. It's over. Listen, you're moving a little too fast, homie. I gotta hit you with the deweys. I'm out.
My thing is, I wouldn't have even made it to the date, because if you are an hour late to our date without
girl,
a good
I didn't hear that. No. I did not hear that.
Yeah, he was an hour late. He was an hour later than he said he would be, is what she said. So if you're an hour late to my date, unless you've got a really, really good excuse, like someone is dying in the hospital or you got in a car accident, I'm just gonna be like, I don't think this is gonna work out.
How am I about being late?
Tate does not like anybody being late, and I'm the same way. I don't like people being late either. So, yeah.
First off, I dated a girl. This is years ago. This girl was awesome, absolutely beautiful, amazing, sweet, everything. She was consistently late.
She could never be on time.
I gave her one notice. I gave her the second notice. Hit her with the deuces. Bounced out. And I even told her, I'm like, listen, if you're consistently being late, then you don't respect my time. Therefore,
priorities.
We don't need it, because if it bothers you on your date, it's going to bother you more over the time, over the years.
Yeah.
A small little pebble is a boulder 5 years from now. Just remember that. So that's why I say, when in doubt, throw it out. If it's a small thing that bugs you now when you're just starting to meet someone, second thing is, the fact is, the date's over. I would have canceled this date earlier, but okay, the date's over. I'm going to go to the coffee shop. I got to study. Well, I'm going with you. And
no, you are not.
Sorry, Brozilla. You're not going on my. I'm going to study.
I got work to do.
I'm going to just flat out be honest and be like, listen, it was a cool date, but I don't want you there. Do you understand? Then the fact that she let that go on, and he's talking about borrowing a calculator. Sometimes you got to be brutally honest. Listen, you're a nice guy, but we're not right. You a little too thirsty for me. You're not borrowing my calculator. You're not talking to my mom on my phone, and I want you to leave the coffee machine, the coffee shop. I want nothing to do with you. Sometimes you gotta lay that pimp hand down. Sometimes, just because this guy is being too much, you gotta be honest with him. And I think I'd rather respect someone to be honest instead of keep on. Because she kept on. Partially, this is where you're gonna disagree with me on, Faith.
I think she was just trying to be nice.
But see, this is a problem, though. I feel like partially it's her fault. Let me explain why before you attack me on this. On why. Okay, because normally you do. Normally you start firing body shots right away. Here's the reason why. The first thing, when he started getting handsy, she told him no. He kept on being handsy. She didn't send him on his way, kept him there. When he started talking about wanting to get married and getting serious, said slow it down. He kept on. She didn't toss him out. When she decided she was going to go to the coffee shop to start studying, he wasn't supposed to go. He decided to go anyway. She let him go. So if you keep putting up a stop sign and you drive through it and you don't get punished for it, then it's okay to start running stop signs. And so she set precedent by allowing these stop signs to keep on being crossed. That was my opinion.
I understand and I get what you're saying and your perspective on it. Oh, but being a woman in the dating world is just something that I do not miss. And I think what she was trying to do is she was just trying to be nice, because from what I've noticed, women get a certain type of stigma, and that if we're too mean or like outright honest, then we're the B word and not nice things. And so I think what she was trying to do is she was trying in a certain way to let him down easy, and he just wasn't really getting the hint. And then eventually it had gotten too far, and then she was like, we can't do this anymore.
But there is sometimes I've seen this. I'm trying to be careful on how I say this. Sometimes I've noticed people will either be a complete pushover, or they will go to the extreme side, what you say is the B word. But and B's can be male or female. Okay. So let's just say the jerk. You can be forceful and honest without having to go to B land. Listen, you're a nice guy, but you're moving too fast. I don't think this is going to work out for us. And then hold your ground. Once you tell them that, you can't be making it a caution sign. If you're gonna put up a stop sign, you got to make it a stop sign. No. So she kept giving him stops, but then letting him coast through. Another stop and letting him coast through. And there was so many of those that at that point, no is the first maybe. You understand where I'm coming from?
No,
because
I do.
she set precedent on that one.
I completely understand. I get it. Because I am guilty of being a pushover sometimes, and I have definitely been not in this situation to the extreme, but I have been in this type of situation where I say no, and then, they cross over the line and I don't really do anything, and so it just, keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So, yeah.
That's why I say what you mean what you say.
Say it with your chest.
Yes. You cannot, if you keep on with just keep letting them go through the stop signs, he's a perpetual line stepper. You know what I mean? He's consistently, no, you can't go to this. Well, I'm gonna go anyway. I want to talk to your parents. Well, he's trying to FaceTime with mama. Hey mama, how's it going? No. It'd be, hey mama, how's it going? I hit him with that elbow. Mama see me catch him with that elbow, if anything.
Yeah.
And then I step over his body and walk on out. No, you cannot. You have to stand your ground, because seriously, guys look for that. Once you start, because you understand, like she
yes,
said
guys
no.
do look for that.
Yes, she
Yes,
said no,
yeah.
but I can go further and she'll let me. She says no, but I know if I try harder, she'll give in. Once you see that turns into other things as well, because you start seeing that, hey, stop signs aren't really stop signs. They're just like, slow down a little bit, but push forward.
Yeah.
So that no is the first maybe.
Moral of the story, stay off of Tinder. That's the moral of the story right there.
I thought the moral of the story was stand your ground, but
I mean, that
apparently
too.
it's
Stand your ground, but stay off of Tinder. Nothing good comes from going on a date from Tinder, obviously. I mean, we have had so many stories about people having something go wrong with the Tinder date. And I have had so many things go wrong with the Tinder date.
Do you know anyone that's had some great success with Tinder? Like, I know a lot of guys, I'm being honest with you, I know a lot of guys, they love Tinder because it is the hookup snack shop.
That's why they
You go there.
That is why they love Tinder.
Get a little bit of that, get a little of that.
I met my ex-boyfriend on Tinder. So,
Can I ask you a question?
yeah.
How'd that turn out?
He's my ex-boyfriend.
That's a whole
We're
point.
not dating anymore.
I'm not trying to put your business in the street. I'm just saying you've openly talked about how you didn't have didn't end well. It never. I feel like it never ends well, does it?
No. I mean, I think there are a handful of people that have met like their partner or like their husband, wife, whatever on Tinder, and it's gone well. But I feel like that's like a handful of people, and then the rest is just an absolute mess. So
it's kind of like there's a handful of people to win the lottery too.
Yeah, why can't that be me? Maybe I should try playing the lottery since Tinder didn't work out for me.
I've had 3 friends. Is it 4 friends? 3 friends win the lottery. So
maybe I'm friends with you now. Maybe it's being friends with you. Maybe that's the
girl, because it's sure. It's just, I have not won.
tastes like because it sure ain't me.
Yes, and I have tried because every time the lottery would get over 100 million, I'd be like, you know what, I gotta play because it's different when you hear about people winning the lottery. It's very different than when you know people that won the lottery. That's when you're like, man,
I should go buy a lottery ticket.
I know people who won the lottery.
Because
every one of them,
200 right now.
Every one of them ended up miserable. Every one of them had a close family member that tried to kill them. Every single one of them.
Well, with that, guys.
Yep, true story.
With that, guys, we're gonna close our show.
That's a true story. Seriously,
I believe
every one of them, either someone tried to run them over with a car, tried to shoot them.
I believe it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Make you do crazy things.
Do not. My moral of the story on that one: you win the lottery, don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
And everyone says the same thing. I'm just going to tell my immediate family: mom, dad, brother, sister. Well, guess what? Every person that I know who has tried to kill that other person was someone that was an immediate family.
It'd be like that.
So.
Alrighty, guys. Well, with that, we're going to close out our show. Thank you so much for tuning into the Andrew Tate Show, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Thank you once again. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Stay off Tinder. Peace.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn ain't